If your knife feels dangerous, it's probably just dull. Episode 5 is sharpening for absolute beginners. This is where most people overcomplicate things and quit. Most beginners think sharp means expensive or factory edge or some complicated sharpening system. It doesn't. Sharp is maintenance, not rescue. If you wait until your knife won't cut, you waited too long. Sharp doesn't require force. Sharp leaves clean surfaces. Sharp doesn't flip sideways. If your knife keeps sliding with the grain, it's not always the wood. Here's what you actually need: a strop and compound. You don't need an entire sharpening system. You just need consistency. Every once in a while I like to scrape my strop off. I just use my steel ruler, multi-purpose. When you're applying compound, you don't need a whole lot. A light coat. Some people like to heat it up with your hair dryer or like that to help it get in there, but you really don't need much. Many of my videos I've talked about this type of blade where it just goes straight from the spine to the cutting edge, which makes life a lot easier for keeping strop. My Badger State has that grind, right? My OCC has that grind. This KST has that grind. There are all kinds of different grinds out there. There's this grind. The secret to stropping and a sharp knife is matching the existing bevel. So why I prefer these is the ease in which you can match. So I lay my knife flat because it's perfectly flat. And all I do is just ever so slightly lift the spine, remember that's the thick part, away from the cutting edge. Okay? And I'm always pushing the blade. And at the end, I lift it. You never want to pull the blade. If you do, you're going to undo the work you've been doing. So down to the end, lift. Down to the end, and then you're going to do the same number on each side. Lift. Lift. 30 times on each side is usually a good start. Then check it and do more if you need it. Now I like to use the smooth side for one purpose: cleaning the gunk and compound off my blade. Just remember, if you go to this way, go to that way. You don't want to be lifting it while you're, you don't want to be lifting it and moving the angle of it while you strop. I'll use a bigger blade just for visibility, right? When you lay it flat, keep it at that angle the whole way. For this type of knife, right, I'm matching the angle that's the cutting surface. And then you just lift it ever slightly, okay? You're not rocking it. You're not lifting it as you go. Pick your spot and go. And my tip to a lot of people is put magic marker on the edge if you're not sure if you're at the right angle towards your cutting edge, and then start stropping. Do a couple strops and look and see where the marker's gone. Is it right where you want it to be or not? One thing people are going to ask is, how do you do a blade that's bigger than the strop? And that's the answer. Same idea. Always push. Right? Never pull that cutting edge. And these black marks you start to see, that's how you know you're taking a little bit of metal off. When you're stropping, if you lift your edge up while you're doing it, you're effectively making the metal microscopically bend this way. You want the cutting edge right at the far end, evenly on both sides. That is why we strop, the same number on each side to try and keep it straight. If you strop too much on one side or you start lifting it, you're going to end up with a burr on the one side that is going to make it feel like a dull knife. If you round your cutting edge, it's not going to cut anything. It won't bite. 20 to 30 passes per side is a good start, right? Remember, this is honing, not sharpening. You're polishing the blade. You're not sharpening it per se. This is a honing system. That's why I said if your knife is dull, you waited too long. And there's a difference between it'll cut and you can hone it back to a fine shape versus it's useless. If you dropped your knife or damaged the blade, you have a bend or curl in it or chipped or anything like that, then you need to go to a stone system. That's more advanced. But if you get a knife that's reasonably sharp, you hone it to optimal sharpness, and then just, if you're asking yourself, man, should I hone this? Like should I put this on the strop now? Is it time? If you're asking yourself, it's time to go to the strop. There's no magic formula every 20 minutes of carving. I strop my knife that I'm going to use before every project I start. Sometimes I finish a project after an hour without stropping it. Sometimes I'm stropping every 20 minutes. If you're cutting harder woods, you're going to need to strop more often. You're cutting softer woods, you may pull a whole project off without having to strop it, but it never hurts to keep it tuned up. So when in doubt, strop. Less force, more control, safer. Sharp tool is a safer tool. When your knife is sharp, the wood stops fighting you. And that is when you can let the wood lead. If you're carving and it feels frustrating, don't buy another knife. Strop the one you have. In the next episode, we're going deeper into letting the wood lead.